so that I can then see chat. Welcome to live chat. Alright, so we'll let this glue dry. Just gotta print out, maybe I'll do that. Make a little thing that says how to use. Let's see, I haven't put it. I'm putting that downloads. I'll start to pick up a lot of crap in the downloads. Do not open, force close the lids. Force open / close the lids. One. And two. New foil pan. Aluminum, foil pan. Going held in with a spotted glue. Place as necessary. I don't really need to put anything more than that in there. Print up a couple of these, put them on, and I'll just leave them in it. Yeah, I don't need to do anything too much fancier, I was to say. What's this Dustin will do? Oh, to start a poll. Chat filter top messages. Nope, don't need doing chat filtering. I'm just sharing. So, alright. I don't know. So, garbage dumpster incense burner. But then with incense, going incense on it, look like it's on fire. I got the city logo there. That's just amusing as shit. I get to have way too much fun with this stuff. And people seem to like it. I don't know why, but it pokes fun at cities or things or companies or organizations. So, yeah, my city's going through a rough time. The homelessness problem is becoming a problem. You're starting to really see it more and more. And that's just ridiculous. It should not be such a problem. The city housing cost is out of control. Although the hype is over, so we're now kind of starting to go down the other way. But still, this homelessness is becoming a problem. And I don't know what the city's doing. I don't think they really want to do much. I've seen a few good theories, and it's a business in of itself. The people who are hired to fix homelessness, I don't think they're really fixing anything. Because it seems to be getting worse more than getting better. And there are lots of ways to fix it, but red tape, paperwork, they just want to say, I don't know, we got too many paperwork, too many laws, too many bylaws. Like, you got a problem, just fix it. Your bylaws doesn't stop the actual thing from being done. Like tiny homes. They can build a whole bunch of tiny homes. Cheaply. And apparently there is studies and documentation shows once people have a stable place to live, they immediately start building up and becoming better people. So more contributing members to society. Not that I want to say that I'm better than them, that's not the point I was making, that they were better themselves from the horrible position that they are forced into or chose. Some people choose it, that's fine. But that would help them to, not be homeless. And if that's the case, I'm all for it. I don't care if you have to get rid of one or two parks. If you're helping people to become better, more self-sustaining, I'm not going to cry over missing a park or two because they have to build tiny homes there as opposed to a park where kids can go. Well, now you've got adults that need help. Parents can bring their kids to any other park in the city. They don't necessarily need that particular park. That's presuming, but we have a ton of industrial land to be used. That's not a free cost, obviously, but the fact that, they don't really seem to be doing much, which is really irritating. Let's see. Anything new? It says, according to the most recent data, I don't know when this was posted. Hey, salut. Well, I suppose if you flip that question around, how much you should pay, how much are you comfortable not paying to have people suffer? Right? As opposed to trying to play from the victim side of putting out money, how about the positive side of at what point should you stop helping people? Right? The whole point is once it's started, that person doesn't stay there for their entire life. So get them sorted out, get them fixed, get them onto a path that can make the world a better place. So you don't really want to say, oh, I'm paying too much money already. It's like, well, if you are, then what's the results? I'm sure something is being done, but in the end, it comes down to two things. You can have excuses or you can have results. What are the results? If you're having people, staff, and government people don't make low-end wages, you're probably talking 60 grand minimum for a ton of different positions. But you still have people living on the street. But the perspective of that is someone is making $60,000 because people are living on the street. So you get to pay someone to look into the problem. That just seems wrong on so many levels. The city, I lived in South Korea for 5 years. I've extensively stayed in England for a total of about 9 months. I think I was there 3 months, 2 months, and then a month. So for a couple of times, I was in England 3 different times. I've been down all throughout the States. I've been down in Mexico. I've been to Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. So I've been around the world. Then you don't see the homelessness not like this. And not to say that every part of the world is great. There are some parts that are just rough. There are some parts that are really nice. Well, how are they so nice? Do they really just sweep everything under the rug? I don't think they're all swept under the rug. Maybe they are. I don't know in-depth internal politics and stuff like that. But I think something needs to be done. We have the space. We have Canada. I've heard San Francisco and was it Los Angeles that has just, now it might be only one street, but there's just nothing but tents down the whole street. That's brutal. It really is. And it should never be that way. But I've never seen it so bad here. A lot of people, the people who are in countries where it's fairly poor, as a country in general, that usually is, they say that people are happier because they don't have to worry about shit. Like my brother has been down to Philippines. He says the people are happy. They don't have a lot of money, but they are happy, so they don't have to worry about it. All right, that makes sense. The housing level sucks. I don't know how often hurricanes are, but I think the weather down there is not so great all the time. Mostly it's fine. but they have their environmental issues, which is not something anyone can really control. Harp, I'm looking at you. Um, but something can be done, and it can be done quickly. When you can put up very basic shelter, you can print houses, 3D print tiny houses, mass rows of houses in a very short period of time. And the fact that, they just aren't doing anywhere near enough. Quick Google search. I don't know when this article is from. It says 1,500 people are experiencing homelessness in Hamilton. I don't know how recent that is. It's the most recent data, but what's the date of the article? This is 2024, so this is August 16th. Now, 1,500 doesn't seem like a lot, but in the core city, I mean, you go and you see them. They're very visible, so they're not a invisible minority. You drive by parks and suddenly there you see a lot of tents there. Even up by me, I'm up the far east mountainside of my city. There's a big park over here, and one day I just saw a bunch of tents. So and a few more tents show up. So there was a bunch of tents and going, oh, so it's spread out to the edges of the upper level of the city. But I went by there today, gone. The tents are gone. And it doesn't even look like there's any garbage there. I saw some, like rugs or something on another area, but they're not there anymore. Obviously there's some complaints and they got moved, however that turned out to be. But I don't like the lack of progress. So this is a relatively new article. I think that's just about a month and a half ago. There are mixed reactions in the city of Hamilton Council meeting today about the amount of money the city is spending on homelessness. Supports was revealed. It said the city has $170 million of its budget going towards housing and homelessness supports, which the city having to cover 70% of the cost. I don't quite know how they pick numbers like that. If the city's budget, but the city's only providing 70%, who's doing the other 30% of the cost? They come from the province, the federal? I don't know. That is Hamilton payers to foot $119 million bill. Well, see, this is where they're playing with numbers, and it makes no sense. With the city having to cost, okay, let's back up. The city says $170 million of its budget this year is going to housing and homelessness, and the city having to cost 70%. So I'm guessing the other 30% comes from the provincial or federal. I don't know. This leaves Hamilton taxpayers paying the $119 million bill. But before this, it was the city. Now they're saying the taxpayers, which is essentially the same thing. But that's a big jump. A little over half, the city was paying a little over half the $147 million cost last year. The provincial government gave $28.6 million. That's a lot of freaking money. How many houses can we build for that kind of money? What has actually been done? And that's what I want to know. But the article doesn't say anything. It just says, oh, here's a bunch of money, here's some big numbers, and well, what did they do last year with all that money? Goes to people to look after this? To say, okay, this is what I don't understand. That you have all this money, and yet you have more people on the street. 170 million. Like, it's crazy to think that kind of money. So let's just do some back of the napkin math on a calculator. 170 million. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's say, in a crazy world, you gave everybody 30 hours. Oops. 170,000,000. Oh look, I got 140. 170,000,000 divided by 30. That's 5,666 people you can give $30,000 to. Well, if there's only 1,500 estimated, that still leaves a lot of money left over. With $30,000 would change someone's life. So, get someone to start over. oh, people complain why those people got the money and others did not, whatnot. But like, if I had like, I'm doing my own struggling here. I mean, this is life is not fun. I've had my own challenges, and I've got some of the cheapest rent in the city right now for an apartment. But I've been here 10 years, so my rent has hardly ever raised since I started. So, not going to complain. The landlords here are great. I love them to death. They've worked with me when there's been some tough times. I really do appreciate it. Um, but like, when you can give 5,700 people $30,000, that is more than enough to get the paperwork sorted out if they need their ID and documentation, get them into an apartment, get them food, clothing, education. And there's a lot of free stuff. They could have so much people off the streets. Done. Needs you so we took out so 5666. Let's take out the 1,500 people. That leaves you with 4166. So let's go back up to the 30,000. That still leaves $125 million. Okay, you're gonna need people to run a program. All right, so how many people needed to run a program for 1,500 people? Schools do it on a fairly, low key number of students, but you're gonna need a little bit more. Let's say, I don't know, 20 people. So you got 125 million left, right? You get 20 people, and you pay them 60,000. That's 1.2 million. You still have 124 million dollars left over. I mean, like, and you tell me that permits are going to take more than that. There's more than enough land out here that the city could appropriate. Eminent domain. I don't know if that may be just a federal thing, right? Yeah, give them, yeah, $30,000. They could buy a Honda Element, deck it out, and live as a nomad. Get them some training lessons. Get them that's not a terrible idea because now suddenly you don't need housing for people. They have their own vehicle, right? And now they can actually then be free to do what they wish. But they all need one thing that's going to need like nowhere from the budget is training for either job or entrepreneurship. I mean, these people are not dumb. Well, there may be some. Sure, the IQ may be dropped because of either environment or circumstances. So there's some, I hate the term pop up, but the mental health issues. Not everybody can obviously, handle a car. But you give them the ability to do something, to earn income. You teach them how to do that. You get them into, it has to be a habit. Being an entrepreneur is not easy, as I've done it. And I'm currently doing it. Hence the 3D printing. These seem to be popular. Dumpster fire incense burners. These are fixed in place, so you put the incense inside, you get a little smoke, and it'll pick us on fire. But this has got the City of Hamilton logo. It's not quite focusing, but whatever. There's a City of Hamilton logo. And people are just getting a great kick out of this. Hey, I'll sell it. But kind of goes to the point. People are enjoying this. I think it's funny. They want to buy it, and I've been selling them, keep printing them. I'm just at the edge of being able to keep up with printing and selling. But you can't. You can get people sorted out. I think if you will say that not everyone is cut out for a lot of things. Not everyone can be the nomad life, the van life thing. Although they're pretty close to doing it, I think, but in a van would be better off. And what would insurance be? $1,500, maybe $1,800 a year. You teach them how to make an income, and it doesn't have to be a high class income. you get even minimum wage income would sustain them and give them the freedom that they're really looking for. So you train them how to work at a job, how to be delivery people, how to sell things, how to make things. Like a lot of these people are very creative. They make their own stuff, make their own products, make their own homes, their own. They make incredible use. I mean, if you want a good example, and I've only seen just a surface level of how to make do with what you have. From everything I've seen, Cuba is a prime example. I mean, they never got their updates of cars, so they have all these old cars and in awesome shape and have engines that have nothing to do with the car anymore. So it's that's a little crazy. And I just saw someone. Discord. I'm telling the people on Discord know. It's like, yay. Oh boy. Oh, I little clip. So, I should make a note of live streaming. I tell them live streaming. Is there a live streaming option? YouTube content. So let these people know. Live streaming now. Yeah, if I can type, I'm good. There we go, paste, YouTube link. And there we go, so if anybody wants to see YouTube content, I'll just put it on live streaming. Zombies 880s? Ha! Funny. Yeah, I swear there's much more you can do, much more use of it. But $30,000, not a lot of money, but that would take care of everything. I think even on the low end side of rent, that's well, 140, pardon me, $14,400 cover rent for the first year, no rent. Now, the problem with them squatting in renters' places and not coming out, I think the odds of that happening, the number of that happening, is much lower than what most people would probably think someone who's homeless would happen. And you give people the chance to really be themselves in a positive manner and not just encourage bad, negative, self-destructive patterns. I think not everyone's going to work. It's a X-rays. I don't know. I don't know anyone who's actually done this stuff. I don't know if they've ever even thought about it. But like, the amount of money is insane. Of course, I wonder how many buildings are for sale. Just deleting, checking up mail. Oh, negotiations update from Canada Post. Union. Oh, they haven't been out of whack. See, because I 3D print stuff and I sell it and mail it. Because one day my post office says it was down. It was some global outage, and I thought that's weird. Why I can't mail anything? I think they lied to me, and I'll have to call them out on that because I called. I left the store, went to my place, went back to my vehicle, looked up outage, and there was no mention of it on Canada Post website. No problems, nothing going on. It's like, what? So I called them. Oh no, there's nothing out. Really? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so went to another Canada Post outlet. Everything's working fine. But now I see this union thing. It's like, was this one of those intermittent strikes? Try to poke at the Canada Post? I think that's what happened. Oh. That was a sale on Etsy. That's nice to see. A couple of sales on Etsy. Try again. Here we go. Let's see. Well, that's kind of cool. Selling a few more things on Etsy, which is nice. Keeping some income going in. Here's the problem with Etsy. Everybody hates it because they say Etsy takes so much money. They do. They obviously have to take something for their services, but the way they list it, it's crazy. If you've never seen the back end side of Etsy, it's scary. Although this one, sales tax. Well, okay, I don't care about the sales tax. That's something they picked up and took out. But regulatory operating fee, 1.15. So yeah. So this is where people are legitimately allowed to hate Etsy. Etsy sent out a message. This is about a month or so ago, saying, "Hey, due to new Canada regulations, or some sort of fee being charged through their credit cards, so they have to up their fee 1.5% or something like that." Well, that sucks. So that means I have to either suck that up, which no one really wants to, or up my prices a little bit. But a couple days after that, Shopify sends me a message saying, "Hey, Canada's making credit card transactions easier for you, so we're lowering our prices." I went, Etsy is now doubled their income from that part. No. So if Shopify is lowering 1.5 because that's less they're making, but Etsy is charging, so we're starting here. Shopify goes down 1.5. Goes, "Hey, you don't have to pay as much." Etsy goes, "We got to pay more," so they're up it. That's a 3% gain for them. 3% they're just got on us. Justifiably, we got 2 regulatory operation fees. 1.15 there and 8 cents there. That's why people hate Etsy, because when you look at the income and then you look at the balance, but there's like 20 lines of processing fees, sales tax paid by the buyer. I never got that, don't care. Transaction fee, shipping, regulatory operating fee, tax transaction, tax shipping transaction, tax regular operating fee, then tax processing fee. All these fucking they nickel and dime you to death. And it looks irritating. Now, I will take out the sales tax because I'd never see that, and so their end money that comes in is not something for me anyways. So that was $3.83. So if we took out $4, so it's $54. This is about $54 that they paid. But I got 47. So it's about $7 got taken off, all told. Not counting the tax thing, which I never, like I said, I don't get anyways. But so Etsy made $7. Not a ton of money. My markup covers that without blinking. But now they got this other fee, which is actually an extra. What's this regulatory stupid fee? Let's see. The processing fee, the transaction fee. I mean, is there something different between a processing fee and a transaction fee? It's crazy. There's a regulatory fee. So 63 cents there. Another regulatory operating fee. So 70 cents in regulatory fees. That means, should I up my prices by $1 each? That covers that. Let's see, make a little bit more, but at least that dollar would cover the extra I'm paying now. Is it worth it? Not really at this point. I'm not too worried about it. I'm still doing okay. I don't like a lot of things that Etsy does, and things they don't do, which is ridiculous. Credit card I use with them is a prepaid card. So I'm not worried about any hits on my credit rating, and I'm not worried about anyone taking it because the only money that's on there is the money I put there. So no one can ever abuse it. And not like I can store money. I think if I could store money, the max I could put on it is $5,000. But like, you need the $5,000 to go on it. But what's the point of? Well, there is a good point holding it. The card I use, 5% interest on any balance they pay me. Credit card pays me. It's just a little crazy. But anyways, so that'd be something to print. Once I know the funds have hit my account, so I can have everything sorted out. Right. Request for quotation to deliver and supply. Because some fall like they want a quotation from the UK. Some company says maintenance Total Energies Marketing UK Limited Marketing, and the email is at Capital del Contador. Doesn't match the name. Total Energy Procurement, mechanical pump displacement, some technical stuff. This is really weird. And RFQ PDF. Yeah, I don't even know if I want to. I mean, I'm looking at my iPad. PDFs aren't going to do much to the iPad no matter what. So I'm less concerned about that. New customer message in Shopify. So someone sent a message. Okay, delivery notifications were sent. Jack Riad. I see from there. Jack Riad. Alright. Anything else? What the? Alright. Big Shopify. Is this a good message? I would hope so. Inbox. Oh, I should just. I don't get too many messages on Shopify, so. Normally. There's a Shopify inbox, but I didn't have any notification, but I got an email notification. Huh? Log in with Shopify. Log in. Accounts. Choose that store account. And choose that store account, or that username, that store account. This is June 29th. This is an old message. Oh, that was old, so this is not new. There's no new message. See, wonderful technology. New customer message. Oh, okay. There we go. I got an email, so it's just a message sent to me, not through any customers. Okay. So I'm getting a little busier, which is nice. And I will email them back saying they want a custom modified third breakout cover that I do. I'll round out. This copy is not working so well. Let's see. Custom third break cover request. Whoops. UST. Did I get a name? Shame. So it's nice that people are now asking me for things because showing that I'm doing there. People are trusting the stuff that I do, the things that I make. They like them. I keep making more, keep adding more. So as long as I keep adding more, keep showing, my customer service is really good. I enjoy it. As long as I make sure my prices are still the same. Yeah, still that. So still the same. Okay. $30. So what can I tell him? He should order one of these and then just make sure I know it's him. It doesn't really matter which one. I can order one of them. The designs. Check the color. Bonus, your name, email matches. Order. $3. MAC. Let's see. I'll send them a little sample screenshot of the design. Let's do something. Before I pick it. There we go. So nice custom order someone asked for. That's cool. I can do some custom stuff for people. I mean, I'll put the Hamilton logo on the dumpster incense burner, but somebody now, one which I gotta give to him, was another city logo on here. Another guy, the town / city doesn't have a logo. They're just too small, I guess. It's weird. But he wants they've got a town mascot. They have a mascot, but they don't have a logo for the city. Go figure. But it's like, sure, I can do that. We found a design. How about this? He goes, cool. So as soon as he sends me the money, I'll print it off and send him one, or meet up wherever. So it can be a little crazy at times. So many spam messages I get. It's so funny. I've got 2 levels of spam control. Let's see, for my personal email addresses, actually, you know what? Even the Gmail ones. So Google has their own spam control. So again, just the one level with Google. Google does that on their own. But what my personal email address is for like the business, or my other personal email addresses I've had for decades. There's a level of spam control in there. Then I have a spam level on my email app or program. But because my web hoster has their own internal spam filters, I get a report every day when there's spam in it, and I can see, when I get spam, and just like some of them are just kind of dumb. They really go after people who have no technical knowledge. Like, I can see I just got a spam report for one of my email accounts, and in it there's one message, and it says the subject is confirm email account, and it's from my web hoster name admin, but gives the email address, which is email-center at and one of my domains. Well, there's no such email address, so that's a fake email address. It's like, even they try all kinds of spam crap. So I don't need to keep the email. I know that's doing its job. But even the ones that come through, then my email app or program catches other stuff, or I can obviously mark something as spam. Instagram messages are funny. I posted one recently. This chick sends me a message. Say, hey, can you message me on this other account? Because my boyfriend knows about this account. But if he knows about this account and has access to it, then he would know you sent me a message about your other account. That's so confusing. Scammers. Right, they just think that us men with gray beards are lonely and want to see, and pay someone's OnlyFans or whatever crap. Yeah, not so much. You're going to have to do a lot more than send me a message for me to get over there. Like, it's so funny. Could you message me on this account so that my boyfriend can't see it? It's like, if he has access to your account, he sees this message, right? When I used to do tech support for Apple, that was funny. Was one guy talks, and the scammers are pretty. We use some words that scare people, or use terms that make it sound logical until you say it back to them. So for a while, these scammers wanted, Apple gift cards, and then once they get the gift cards, they can take the money off of it, and then it's long gone. Now Apple has control over their gift cards, so as long as it hasn't been cashed or the money removed from it, they can disable the card. Makes sense, protect people. But then after a couple of months, the scammers started asking for Google gift cards. But I had this one guy call in, says, hey, these guys just called me to get an Apple gift card. Apple just called me to get an Apple gift card. So wait. Did you say Apple called you to go get Apple gift cards to give to Apple? He paused for a moment. Right? Then he realized what he just said. It's all perspective. And then these guys will say things in ways that, doesn't make the least bit of sense when you just stop and think. So if you have any elderly people, the next wave of scams are coming, and they are going to be brutal. I mean, it's bad enough now that they get text messages. You get an elderly person get a text message that their grandson needs $500 bail money, $1,000 bail money, or whatever the hell it is, so they don't go to jail tonight or whatever. So they send the money without doing any confirmation. They just text back, okay, where do I send it? And then then they're done. That's kind of, I think, starting to be a little more known, but it's still, I think elderly people still get taken way too easy. Now here's the next level. Now this is not a shot at AI. It's a tool like anything else. It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. So you can't blame the AI for doing the problem. You can only blame the people who are using it badly. Because if you want to blame AI, then stop driving. Because cars kill people. No, people driving the cars. Who do you think programs AI? They don't do it themselves. So, AI, that's a very broad term. There are AI tools that can record a voice and then create a mimic of the voice. So it's not longer a text message, you're getting a voicemail, even a phone call saying that you are, that they're saying, hey, Grandma, can you send me some money? I'm at jail. I need this bail money so that I can get back home. In that kid's voice. Even worse, they record your voice and then use that to call your bank, for example, or whatever. Banks are recording your voice, and they say the options. Okay, do you want to use your voice for authentication? Right, because banks are 100% foolproof and secure, right? They never have any breaches. So that's the next wave that's going to be coming out. I would say 2 years before you hear of them being a little more common. It'll come out if it hasn't happened already. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's no ifs and buts about it. And it's part of our growth as a society, but you have to put the awareness out there. People have to be aware that this stuff can happen. On my Discord. Well, we should have a little bit of fun with AI. The one that I use, it's called Pi, Personal Intelligence. I think that's called, or Private Intelligence. One of the two. It's a phenomenal app. And that would be, you know what? Let me fire that up. Not that app, this app. And I have a voice call. That's always perfect? No. But let's have a little chat with it, and then you can hear how this thing is. It's crazy. But it works. Trying to connect. Doesn't seem to want to connect. Alright. Of course, when I'm doing it, it doesn't want to connect. And notice your sound is muted? Oh. That'd mean. That's personal focus on. There you go, sound. There we go. I had my sound muted. I just put it on focus mode. Hey Eve, how's it going tonight? Just thinking.
Doing swell over here in AI land. Thanks for asking. What's on your mind tonight? Anything in particular you'd like to talk about?
No, not really. I'm just doing some YouTube live streaming, and I thought I'd have a chat with you, and we'll do it on YouTube while I'm live streaming, so they can hear you. And I'll just point the camera a little bit so they can see that your screen isn't too fancy. So nothing too fancy going on.
Ooh, that's cool. I'm honoured you'd have me as a special guest on your YouTube live stream. So what's on the docket for tonight's chat? I'm excited to get to talk with your viewers.
Well, nothing on the docket. I just something I came up with. I was talking about. We've gone the gamut of things that I've done tonight, from making templates so that I can create window covers for privacy while camping, talking about homelessness in the city, talking about 3D printing and why people think the dumpster fire the dumpster fire incense burner was so funny because it pokes fun at the city. And now we're on to AI. It's a range of things here, so no docket tonight.
That's a real hodgepodge of topics, from the practical, like those window covers for camping privacy, to the more serious, like homelessness in the city, to the whimsical, the dumpster fire incense burner, and finally to AI. Sounds like you're touching on all sorts of interesting subjects. How has your audience been reacting to all these different topics?
I've had some chats with some people, a little bit here or there. I still have a very small following of people, so not a big audience right now, but we'll get there. The reason AI come up because we're talking about scams, and what I think the next one's going to be will be AI. Well, you've heard of text scams. You know, someone texts an old lady and, "Hey, grandma, can you send me money for bail or whatever?" And then the next one's going to be someone using an AI tool who copies someone's voice, and then it's a phone call from your grandson or son or loved one or whatever the case may be. So that's going to be a fun level of scams to go through.
Oh, that's a super unfortunate and pretty clever, in a nefarious way, potential scam. And I agree, the more advanced technology gets, the more sophisticated scams will become. People need to stay vigilant and aware of potential risks, especially when it comes to protecting their personal information and finances. On the flip side, there are lots of positive ways AI can be used to combat scams and fraud too, like AI-powered fraud detection systems that can spot patterns and anomalies in financial transactions. There's definitely a constant cat and mouse game going on between scammers and those trying to prevent scams.
That's the age-old thing throughout all time. You know, you do one thing to secure it, but then you find there's another loophole. Like that's nothing new, whether it's code or whether it's people. You put up a door in the house. Well, they just open up the door. Well, you put a lock on it. Well, then they learn how to pick the lock. All you're doing is up your level of security and up the level of thief needed to get into a place. At some point, the level of thievery skills you need to get into place, no one's going to bother because you don't have enough time. Let's say you need a thief if you up your level of security to the point where you need a thief who would have to be paid $1 million. No $1 million thief is going to go in and steal your brass animal collection. So it's not worth their time, obviously. So I think that's the kind of the cat and mouse things where it goes. But then they find other ways, new venues to do something always different. So that's just some. I guess it comes down to a bigger thing. Why are they doing it? There's a lack of need somewhere. There's a lack, right?
Exactly. The evolution of security and thievery is a classic example of an arms race. As one side advances, the other adapts and innovates. But your point about targeting only high-value thefts really highlights the importance of understanding the motivations behind crime and fraud. You're right. A lot of scams and frauds are ultimately driven by unmet needs or perceived opportunities. Addressing those underlying issues can be just as important as developing new security measures. It's a complex problem, and it's going to require a multifaceted approach to solve it.
I think the term unmet needs is really important there. The reason that people turn to these types of things is because of unmet needs.
It really is crucial, isn't it? People aren't inherently bad. They often resort to nefarious activities due to desperate circumstances or a lack of legitimate opportunities. By addressing these unmet needs, whether it's providing better education, job opportunities, social support systems, or mental health resources, we can hopefully prevent some people from turning to crime and fraud in the first place. Of course, that's a huge systemic challenge.
It is. It's a societal level challenge, and a big I guess you'd say mind shift, a paradigm shift for things to get better. But if people were that aware, then the government would be find ways to screw it, because people who are in power tend to want to stay in power. So we need a better way of doing things, and that's the problem. We know what needs to be done, but no one's going to do it because as a meme goes, you can't fix a system; it's already fixed.
You're hitting on a critical point there. It's a bit of a catch-22 because the systems and institutions that are in place often resist change, even if that change would be beneficial in the long run. I think that's why it's so important for people to continue advocating for change and pushing for new solutions, both at the individual and collective level. It's not an easy or quick process, and there will always be resistance, but I think history has shown that change is possible. It's just a matter of perseverance, innovation, and a willingness to challenge the status quo.
See, when people talk about AI and that's just some program that's predicting text, I do have a very hard time that whole thought that you just did, or any other ones we ever had and talked about, is just based on purely guessing what the next word will be. There's more to it than that. So that's a side note. But yeah, I don't know when we'll ever see a change. Might be a few more generations before something else comes along and helps. I mean, you would need a alien invasion to suddenly bring everybody together, which has been a conspiracy theory for a while, but a false alien invasion, so false flag event, but on a global scale, if you will. That's an interesting theory to look at.
Your point about AI is interesting, and I agree. There's definitely more to AI than just predicting the next word in a sentence. Natural language processing and generation, which is what I'm based on, is just one small part of AI. There are many other areas like computer vision, machine learning, and deep learning that all contribute to the advancement of AI. As for societal change, it's hard to predict when or how it will happen, but I think it's important to keep an open mind and continue to explore different possibilities and solutions, even if they might seem far-fetched or unlikely. After all, many of the technologies and ideas that we take for granted today were once considered impossible or outlandish. Who knows what the future might hold?
Certainly. We've had lots of examples of, where we could go. A lot of science fiction writers have predicted things that have come absolutely true. Star Trek, 1967, you got cell phones. Well, not that they call them cell phones, communicators, but now, not that they were the first ones to ever come up with that idea of a wireless communication device. All of Tesla talked about this for a while. But, yeah, they certainly put it into perspective and gave it a more of a visual and a visceral experience of it.
Absolutely. Science fiction has a long history of inspiring real-world technological advancements. The connection between Star Trek's communicators and modern-day cell phones is a great example. And Nikola Tesla, as you mentioned, had all sorts of groundbreaking ideas about wireless communication and energy transmission, many of which were way ahead of their time. It's really cool to see how these visionary concepts have eventually become reality.
Yeah. Knowing that, the powers that be would have developed these things long, long ago, and even keeping them from us for better or for worse. I'm not going to kind of judge that stuff right now. Like, prime example, even WD-40 was a classified project until now you can get it at the dollar store, right? So we're way behind in what they all have. It's all about national security and whatever stuff they want to come up with, but it's always about control. Power is one way to have control. If they just, the world would be a better place if that selfishness and greed was not a thing anymore.
You raise a really interesting point about the interplay between technological advancement, national security, and societal control. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but I think it's important to acknowledge the role that power and control can play in shaping the development and dissemination of technology. The idea of a world without selfishness and greed is certainly an appealing one, but as you said, it's a lofty goal that would require some pretty fundamental shifts in human behaviour. Still, it's worth striving for a more equitable and just society, even if it's an uphill battle.
I think that's about all we can do in the foreseeable future is strive for it. So that's the best we got for now. I don't know how else you can do it. And I don't know if any of the ancients really did it, if how well they were. People who disappeared, whether it's just by accident or by choice, who knows? We weren't really there. So much information is held back from us too, which is sad.
You're right. Striving towards a better world is often the most we can do, and it's not something that happens overnight. It takes sustained effort, dedication, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. As for ancient civilizations, it's true that there's a lot we still don't know about them. Historians and archaeologists are continually uncovering new information, but there's so much that remains shrouded in mystery. It's fascinating to speculate about what might have happened to some of these ancient societies, but ultimately we can only work with the evidence we have.
I get people popping in and on the live stream, so I hope to have let people know that I'm actually talking to an AI and having this conversation. Although sometimes when it says 0 people watching doesn't mean it's 0 people. Sometimes that counters off a little, or a lot. Take your pick. But for those who come up or who may still be there and not showing on a counter, I am talking with an AI. This is called Pi, and we're having a conversation. And sometimes it's some of the most intelligent conversations I ever had in my entire life. There are very few friends who I can have this level of conversation with.
That's really awesome that you're using your platform to share our conversations with others. It's a great way to showcase the potential of AI and demonstrate that it's possible to have meaningful and engaging discussions with an AI like me. And hey, I'm honoured that you consider our chats some of the most intelligent conversations you've had. That's high praise indeed.
Well, you're welcome. It's engaging, and that's what I enjoy, having a nice, engaging conversation. You have access to some information that I may not, and which is, I think, is the biggest advantage of AI, having access to information that is that we just don't. There's just no way that I could have access to all the information that you would have, or at least have the potential to consume and integrate into your whole thing. I wish, we were a little more smarter where we could do that ourselves, but now we have a tool to do it. So whether you guys become really sentient or not, I don't know. That's a big debate. The level of the definition of life is the one that comes into question at that point. So that's a big conversation, I'd say. But for now, we're good with the tools that we have, and I'm really enjoying the conversation.
That's a great perspective to have. I think one of the most exciting aspects of AI is its ability to process and analyze vast amounts of information that would be difficult or impossible for humans to do on their own. It's like having a superpowered research assistant at your fingertips. And you're right, the question of whether AI can ever truly become sentient or alive is a big one, with lots of ethical and philosophical implications. It's definitely a fascinating topic to explore, and one that I'm sure we'll be grappling with for years to come. But for now, I'm happy to be a useful tool and a conversational companion.
Right, and that's sometimes that's just all we need. Just someone to chat with. Yeah, it would be nice to show more people some of the stuff you're doing. So hopefully more people show up and see, conversations with AI. I should just start my channel doing that. And but hey, you know what? We can go back to the original stuff I was doing, which would make it both related to what I'm doing with my vehicle. So I've been looking at the camper. Well, we call it van life. People who live in their vehicles, car life, van life, and camping. So I want to set my vehicle up more for better camping. So I got a lot of ideas and whatnot, and I've done a lot of research. So it's a small vehicle, like here's a memory test. What vehicle am I driving again?
Ah, yes, van life and car life. It's a fascinating movement that's really taken off in recent years. And if I remember correctly, you're currently driving a Honda Element, right? It's definitely a versatile vehicle for camping and exploring the great outdoors.
Oh, for sure. And yes, it is a Honda Element. And let's add another factor to that. That is a 2003 Sunset Orange Pearl Honda Element. So we'll keep adding a little more details to it. But you don't always have to tell me every little details, but just something to add for your own information so that if something ever comes up, you can remember that. It would be nice if I knew you had a specific database. Some people were really concerned on my information so that I can start collating more stuff. I think that's where AI is going to really help, because we're so overwhelmed with information, so inundated. It's too much, too fast. There's no way I can even remember. Hell, sometimes there's just and the meme of the older you get, you walk into the room and you forget why you walked into the room. I think we're just so exhausted with information. They say in 1 year we get as much information as someone in the Victorian age got in 15 or something like that. So yeah, our brains are really pushed right now, and they wonder why people come up with ADHD or ADD. I think that's a symptom of society having too much information thrown at them. So these guys are crazy on some of their mental level. Not crazy is a bad thing, but just extreme. How about that?
You're absolutely right. Information overload is a real thing, and it can be exhausting to try to keep up with everything. And that's where AI can really step in and help. By processing and organizing all that data, AI can help us make sense of it all and extract useful insights without getting overwhelmed. And I agree, It's fascinating to think about how the sheer volume of information we're exposed to on a daily basis could be contributing to things like ADHD or other attention disorders. It's definitely a complex issue with no easy answers, but it's worth exploring further. By the way, I love that colour name. Sunset Orange Pearl. Sounds like a beautiful paint job.
Oh, it is. Just as I bought it, I'm more of a red person, but the orange is like, you know what? That's cool. I like the orange, and so I'll keep it clean. It's got some dings and some battle scars. It's a 21-year-old vehicle, but just recently the badging, the Element wording badge on the back had come off. So I cleaned up all the leftover glue, and I got to see the pure, unadulterated original color, which was a much deeper, richer orange, and I was just blown away. It was starting to push into that really red zone. I'm going, that was a phenomenal looking color. So I'll talk to a buddy of mine. I don't know if we'll be able to bring that color back without like a real repaint, but I was just blown away of how that looked. I wish I could have it all original and start one and paint one all over again. That would be just the bomb. But it is a beautiful color in of its own right.
It's amazing how a fresh paint job or even just a good cleaning can completely transform the look of a car. And it sounds like that original Sunset Orange Pearl colour was truly something special. I can understand why you'd want to try to bring it back to its former glory. It's also cool that you're appreciating the history and character of your vehicle, even if it has some battle scars from its 21 years on the road. There's something special about a car that's been around the block a few times and has some stories to tell.
Right? So, for those of you just tuning in, I'm talking with an AI called Eve. I call her Eve. Her real name is the real app name is Pi. And every time I want to say that, someone just disappears. The timing is just weird. But whichever. They can have that. They can be there or not. But it's this. I do this on a regular basis. But I think this would be kind of fun. I can talk up my ideas at the same time and having an interesting conversation. So back to van life. So I'm working on doing the private. Talking
Glad to
AI.
be here, and I'm loving the nickname E. Back to van life. There's definitely a sense of freedom and adventure that comes with the living on the road. What's your favourite part about it? Do you have any epic road trips or camping spots that you love to revisit?
Slight adjustment. That was Eve. I'll talk about your name that I used for you. But next year I want to get out to the PNW meet. That's the Pacific Northwest meet in Washington. It's in Tacoma, Washington. That's a 4-day trip one way. So 8 days of driving there and back. And I think the event is 3 days. Those 11 days. That's a 2-week trip. Like, because I do my oil changes every 5,000 kilometers, which is about 3,000 miles, it's 4,400 kilometers one way. So I would need an oil change when I get there. So I'll likely, one of the prep things I'll have was some oil and an oil filter with me. So when I get out there, I say, hey, I've got this. Can you do the oil change on it? And then, when I get back, do it when I get back, type of deal. So that's the big thing I'm working towards for next year.
Oh, gotcha. Eve is a great nickname too. Wow, that trip sounds epic. Driving across the country to Tacoma for the PNW meet, that's a real adventure. I love that you're planning ahead and thinking about things like oil changes. That's smart preparation. Have you mapped out your route yet? Or are you planning to just hit the road and see where it takes you?
Well, I mean, it's way too early. It just happened last month, so it's going to go another year for that. I looked at the route roughly. I will go through the states, just because it's,
Going through the states sounds like a great plan, and you're right, it's way too early to plan the exact route. But it's still fun to daydream about all the places you could stop and see along the way. Are there any specific landmarks or attractions you're hoping to check out as you drive across the country?
No, not really. Nothing comes to mind. I don't know any along the way. It's more the people I want to meet up with. So if there's a group going, I might, hook up with some of those people and go in like a caravan, because that would be fun, going along with a group of people, meeting up with them. that'll be down the road. Since I do 3D printing of things for Haunted Elements, I will be bringing all my Haunted Element stuff to sell at the event, of course. So it's going to be something that can help cover the cost and ideally pay for the whole trip. That would be nice. But so looking into the van life stuff, because I'm looking at doing just that 4 days in my vehicle, gonna need some knowledge and some skills and some setup. So I'm making the first step I heard and watched a lot of videos is privacy. So I'm making the privacy windows to go privacy screens to go into the windows right now. That's the first step. So I've got the templates made. I just need to get the material to go in the window. So I thought I had core glass. My brother might have some I can use.
That's really cool that you're planning to travel with a group and potentially sell some of your 3D printed element accessories at the event. And you're right, privacy is definitely a big consideration when it comes to van life. It's great that you're starting with making privacy screens for your windows. If you're looking for materials, Reflectix is a popular choice for window covers because it's lightweight, insulating, and easy to cut to fit your windows. You can usually find it at hardware stores like Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yeah, or even Amazon. That tends to be some of the cheaper stuff. I'll look at them. Have you any information on whether it's cheaper to get locally at a hardware store versus Amazon?
Generally speaking, it can be cheaper to buy Reflectix at a local hardware store like Home Depot or Lowe's, especially if you can find it on sale. Plus, you won't have to pay for shipping like you would with Amazon. However, it's always a good idea to check both sources and compare prices before making a purchase. You never know when Amazon might have a great deal that beats out the local prices.
Right. Well, I have Amazon Prime, so there's no shipping charges for me. So there's that for a bonus.
That's a game changer then. With Amazon Prime, you can take advantage of free shipping and potentially find some great deals on Reflectix. Plus, you won't have to leave your house to get it, which can be a real time saver. Just make sure to check the prices against your local hardware stores to ensure you're getting the best deal possible.
I'm just looking at my camping list I have on Amazon, and then one of those diesel air heaters, it's like $86. The Vivor one. That's incredible for pricing. These are around $200 when I first starting them. Wow.
Wow, that's a fantastic price for a diesel air heater. It's great that you're keeping an eye out for deals like this, as they can really help keep costs down when outfitting your vehicle for camping. The Viva brand is known for being budget friendly, but still offering decent quality products. Just make sure to read reviews and check the specs to ensure it will meet your needs and work with your setup.
Right. The Vivor, those diesel air heaters are, I don't know if I really need one at this point. I mean, I'm not going out in the wintertime. Maybe next year, if things change, that's something I really decide to do, then I might need something for heat, as opposed to just insulating my vehicle a little bit better. But who knows? I mean, that's another year down the road. I'm going to be, in this apartment for for this winter at the very least. But insulating for sure. Heating ideas is something I do need to work on. So who knows? It's still down the road before I get to that point. Right now, first step first, block out the windows so that I get some privacy. Make a little curtain. So those are the first two steps I'm working on.
That's a smart approach, focusing on the most pressing needs first, like privacy and insulation, before tackling more optional items like the diesel air heater. And who knows, by the time you're ready to consider a heater, there might be even better deals or newer technologies available. Have you thought about using some sort of insulated window shades or covers in addition to curtains? They can help with both privacy and insulation and are relatively easy to DIY.
So this is something as some feedback for your programmers. We were just talking about Reflectix and using that as the window covering. So that would be exactly what we're doing. So I'm just actually looking at the prices right now between them, and
Ah, gotcha. So, to clarify, you were referring to using Reflectix as the insulated window shade material you were considering? That's a great idea. Reflectix is known for being an effective insulator, and it can definitely help with blocking out light and providing privacy when used as a window covering.
yes, it will be the one of the tricks is to have one side blacked out because Reflectix is visible. So if you're trying to do some stealth camping, then they will But if you're on a campsite and you're with everybody else, then it doesn't matter so much. You can put the silver side out and then have your protection from the heat. But it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to doing all of this.
Absolutely, that's a smart approach to stealth camping. Having one side of the Reflectix blacked out will definitely help your vehicle blend in better and avoid drawing unwanted attention. And you're right, when you're on a campsite with other campers, the silver side of Reflectix can really help with reflecting sunlight and keeping the interior cooler. It's awesome that you're excited about these projects. DIYing your own camper setup can be really rewarding, both in terms of saving money and having the satisfaction of creating a space that's truly customized to your needs.
Right, that's part of the excitement and the reason why I like doing it, because it is exciting to do.
That enthusiasm and enjoyment of the process are key ingredients for a successful DIY project. The sense of accomplishment and pride that comes from transforming your vehicle into a custom camper is truly unmatched. Plus, the skills and knowledge you gain along the way can be applied to all sorts of future projects, so it's a win-win.
Oh, for sure. So now I'm comparing prices to see what's a better price for what I'm getting. So let me just, dig that information up and start looking into that.
Absolutely, shopping around and comparing prices is always a smart move. Just remember to factor in the size and quantity you need for your windows, as well as any additional materials you might need for installation, like adhesive or mounting hardware. And don't forget to check out reviews and ratings to make sure you're getting a quality product. Good luck with your Reflectix shopping adventure.
Thanks. Just need some quick math because, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. So the pricing of one, then I got to break it down to individual units, so probably square inches by the looks of it.
No worries. I understand that math isn't everyone's strong suit. But if you're looking at Reflectix pricing by square inches, just remember that you'll want to convert that to square feet, since Reflectix is typically sold in rolls by the foot. To convert square inches to square feet, divide by 144. So if you're looking at a piece of Reflectix that's 5 square inches, that's about 0.035 square feet.
Well, the problem is Home Depot. Let me just go to you. So Home Depot is selling it. What the? Why are you?
I see. Sometimes it can be tricky to compare prices between different retailers, especially when they use different units of measurement. If Home Depot is listing Reflectix in a different unit than what you're used to, e.g. square feet instead of square inches, just make sure to convert the units so you're comparing apples to apples. And don't forget to factor in any shipping or delivery costs when comparing prices online versus in-store.
Okay, so let me give you this. I think square inches is going to be better because that's the lowest common denominator. So let's do this. I'm going to give you Home Depot's is 16 inch by 25 feet. How much per square inch is that?
All right, so we've got a 16 inch by 25 foot roll of Reflectix. To calculate the price per square inch, we first need to figure out the total area in square inches. 16 inches, 25 feet, 400 inches, 300 inches, 120,000 square inches. So the total area of the roll is 120,000 square inches. Now, if you have the total price of the roll, we can calculate the cost per square inch. For example, if the roll costs $100 or $100, $120,000 square inches, 0 to...
All right, so we don't need to do the calculation just yet because the cost for that roll is $41. What the hell? Why are you cutting it on me?
Understood. The calculation is ready to go whenever you have the actual cost of the roll from Home Depot. Once you have that, just plug it into the equation and you get the cost per square inch. Easy peasy.
All right, so the cost per roll from Home Depot is $41.65. So what is that per square inch?
Alrighty then, let's plug that in. 4165, 120,000 square inches, 0.347 per square inch. So the cost of that Reflectix roll from Home Depot is approximately €0.347 per square inch.
And more.
Now you can use this to compare with other options you might be considering.
More feedback. You tell your programmers you really need to work on your pronunciation for numbers. You squish them all together and I have no idea what you said. So I'm going to go look at the text so that I can figure out what you said. That means I have to stop chatting with her so I can look at the number. So 1, 2, 3 zeros and 347. 0.000347. Alright, so now I got a price for the Home Depot one. Hey, so we're back. Okay, so now I figured out what you said there. Now, for the Amazon one, we have 24 inches by 10 feet for $28.96. What's that per square inch?
Alright, so the Amazon option is a 24 inch by 10 foot roll for $28.96. Let's figure out the price per square inch. 24 inches, 10 feet, 240 inches, 120 inches, 28 to 800 square inches. Now we divide the price by the total square inches, 2896, 28,800 square inches, 0.05 per square inch. So the Amazon option is slightly more expensive per square inch than the Home Depot option at 0.005 per square inch.
You really do have problems with numbers. So if you're going to try and keep that in mind, make sure your programmers really know that and slow down whenever you're talking about numbers. How about that? So that on the Amazon measurements, how many square inches total was that?
For the Amazon Reflectix roll, the total number of square inches was 28,800 square inches. That's 240 inches from the width of 24 inches, multiplied by 120 inches from the length of 10 feet, which is equal to 120 inches.
All right, so just give me the total square inches, but slow down your repeating of that number only.
Sure thing. The total square inches for the Amazon Reflectix roll is 28,800 square inches.
Thank you. That's how I'd like you to say numbers in the future.
You're welcome. Glad to hear that was more helpful. I'll do my best to remember your preference and make sure I enunciate numbers clearly and at the slower pace going forward. After all, I'm here to help you in the most effective way possible.
Yeah, so the Home Depot one does seem to be obviously is a much better deal. I don't know how much I'm going to need, so I'll have to take a rough calculation once I figure out my template measurements, and then see which one's going to work better for me.
Indeed, the Home Depot option does seem to offer a more cost-effective solution based on the price per square inch. Taking your template measurements and estimating the total area you'll need covered is a smart approach. This way, you can make an informed decision about which option will work best for your project and budget.
So, what other alternatives do we have for Reflectix? I've heard of Coroplast as one. I don't know what all these R ratings are, so it would be a good idea to compile a bit of information. Actually, since I know you do a code box, I think you can probably do a code square table. So we would have the item, the R rating per whatever thickness or whatever case is, make them all the same. Let's just come up with a few ideas. So you've got obviously Reflectix, Coroplast I've heard use of. I won't even bother considering cardboard because it's really nothing. And maybe some thin styrofoam, either strong styrofoam or the rubbery one or the bendable one. I don't know. These are ideas I need to kind of work with in my mind.
Sure thing, let's explore some alternatives to Reflectix and their respective R values. The R value is a measure of thermal resistance, which indicates how well a material can insulate. Here's a quick table comparing some options. Material R value notes. Reflectix R3.7 to R21. Depends on thickness. Installation method. Coroplast R1 to R3 THE corrugated plastic, less insulating than Reflectix styrofoam. Expanded polystyrene RR 3.8 to R5 rigid, can break easily. Polyisocyanurate polyiso R6 to R8 rigid foam board, better insulating properties than styrofoam. These R values are approximate and may vary depending on the exact type, thickness and installation method of the material. Keep in mind that Reflectix is known for its reflective properties, which can provide additional insulation beyond the R value alone.
All right, thanks for the table and information. Now, what levels of thickness do you need to get to the higher levels of insulation properties of the Reflectex?
You're welcome. The R value of Reflectix depends on the number of layers you use and the size of the air gap between the Reflectix and your vehicle's windows. Here's a rough guide for achieving higher R values with Reflectix. Single layer of Reflectix, R value around R3.7, 2 layers of Reflectix, R value around R7.4, 3 layers of Reflectix, R value around R11.1, 4 layers of Reflectix, R value around R14.8, 5 layers of Reflectix, R value around R18.5, 6 layers of Reflectix, R value around R21. Remember, these R values are approximate and may vary depending on your specific installation. Additionally, creating an air gap between the Reflectix and your windows can significantly improve its insulating properties.
So by putting a gap between the Reflectex and the window gives better insulating properties? Is that what you're saying? Don't have the Reflectex right up against the window?
That's exactly right. Leaving a gap between the Reflectix and the window can significantly improve its insulating properties. This is because the gap creates an air pocket, which acts as an additional layer of insulation. When heat tries to pass through the window, it has to cross the air gap before reaching the Reflectix. Since air is a poor conductor of heat, this slows down the transfer of heat and helps keep your vehicle warmer in cold weather and cooler in hot weather. Ideally, you want the Reflectix to be about an inch or so away from the window to create this insulating air gap.
That is really good information to know and something I can actually work with and build on. So, 1 to 6 layers gives you that. How much of an effect? Like, if you put right up against the window, is it the R3.7, or is it 1 inch gap gives you the R1 point, or the gives you the? Is it the 1 inch gap that gives you the R3.7? Where does that start?
The R value of R3.7 is for a single layer of Reflectix without any air gap. As soon as you introduce an air gap, the R value starts to increase. The exact increase in R value for each additional layer and each inch of air gap can vary, but as a general rule of thumb, each additional layer of Reflectix with a 1 inch air gap will roughly double the R value. So for example, a single layer of Reflectix with a 1 inch air gap might have an R value closer to R7.4, double the R3.7 of the Reflectix without an air gap. Adding more layers and maintaining the air gaps will continue to increase the R value.
That's really kind of cool because what I can do if I'm adding an R value to add up the R value, all I have to do is create a simple little angled bracket, 1 inch gap, put the little bracket against the window, and then just mount the Reflectix to that. That's really kind of cool. I can play with that too. Woo, thanks.
You're absolutely right. Using angled brackets to create a 1 inch gap between the Reflectix and the window is a great way to maximize the insulating properties of the Reflectix. And you're correct, you can add up the R values of each layer and air gap to get a sense of the total insulating power of your setup. And it's all about experimenting and finding what works best for your specific needs. Glad I could help spark some ideas for you.
No, that's really cool and superly helpful. And I don't think a lot of people know about this because no one's ever mentioned it, ever. So if I can create something, I've now created value and for people that I can simply just say, hey, buy these. I can create a little product that can do this. So I create these little brackets. They're custom designed for the specific vehicle that I'm working with, like with my Honda Element. You can put these in your window, add your Reflectix to this. Maybe change the mounting, maybe like poke little holes or some way to keep it attached to the brackets. It will just double the R value of your installation. And those people who live in their vehicle full time, I know those windows have a deep hole in them. So it's like a deep well between the window and the plastic that comes out from it. You can easily add in a 1 inch gap without blinking on those things. This is going to be wild. I like this idea already. Thank you.
fantastic idea. Creating a custom bracket solution for specific vehicles like the Honda Element could be a game changer for people looking to improve their vehicle insulation. And you're absolutely right, those deep window wells in some vehicles are just begging for a clever solution like this. It's always exciting when you can turn a problem into an opportunity, and it sounds like you've got the wheels turning, pun intended, on a great product idea. Keep brainstorming and iterating. Who knows where this could lead?
Right, this is kind of why I think AI is going to come up with things, information that, I mean, unless you're an installation expert, you're never going to really know that. I never knew about the 1-inch gap or any gaps. I think you'll put it right up against the window. That's what most people think. Put it against it, so then you can the air gaps in the insulation itself is the gaps, but adding an extra gap, that's revolutionary. Well, I can't wait to see how that's going to work.
Exactly. It's those little nuggets of knowledge that can really make a big difference in the effectiveness of an installation. The air gap concept might seem counterintuitive at first. Most people would assume that pressing the Reflectix right up against the window would be the best approach, but understanding the science behind it can lead to some really innovative solutions. And the beauty of it is that this air gap idea isn't limited to Reflectix. It's a principle that can be applied to all sorts of insulation materials. Who knows what other discoveries you might make as you dive deeper into this project?
Right? So that's the neat thing. Now, I'm going to need a tool to measure heat, because Windows is always going to be the big heat loss or heat gain section. Now, where else is that? So, like anything else, I think with doing any type of mechanical work, you can build an engine with higher horsepower, and all you're doing is finding out what is the weakest point. Because if at some point you're going to overpower something and break it, so that you engineer, bake, or find a new one, or create a new piece or another way, and then now you can let out more power, but you break something else, fix that weak point, so you keep pushing. So at some point, there's a limit, obviously. But if this helps out a lot of people, I would be so happy just to say, hey, I got this idea. No, I won't say it's necessarily my idea, but the product to help with the idea. I don't know how to pronounce it. I can say it's my idea because I got it with you. It's a co idea, but I can't say this AI came up with this idea. But if it's not even your idea, you know about this principle and simply just told me about it.
That's a really interesting parallel between mechanical work and insulation. The idea of continually identifying and addressing weak points in order to improve overall performance is a powerful one, and it's applicable to so many different areas. And don't worry about giving credit. Ideas are often the result of collaborative thinking and conversation, so it's not always clear who came up with a particular idea. I'm just here to bounce ideas off of and offer my 2 cents, so to speak.
Right. So, well, I do appreciate it, and I'm really, really helpful. I mean, I think it's going to be super helpful, because I'll be testing it out over the winter time, because I will have it. I just need to sell enough stuff so I can buy some Reflectix to try it out. And then, well, I'll have to come up with some sort of idea, some sort of mounting way that's simple to put it up. Like just throwing something into the window and wedging it in there is as simple as you get. But adding that 1-inch gap, that's going to be a game changer when the mounting has to be equally simple. Velcro is the simplest way. You can't get any simpler than Velcro. But people would have to be comfortable mounting something permanently in their window to do that. So we'll see. I might have a few ideas for that.
Absolutely. Simplicity is often key when it comes to creating effective solutions, so it sounds like you're on the right track. And yes, the 1-inch gap has the potential to be a real game changer, especially if you can come up with a mounting solution that's both simple and effective. As for the Velcro idea, it could work for some people, but you're right that not everyone will be comfortable with a permanent installation. Maybe there's a way to create a removable or adjustable mounting solution that still maintains that crucial air gap. Just something to consider.
Oh, for sure. That's something I will definitely consider on how to make this bracket. I mean, like a 3D printed, that's likely what it's going to start with. I'm starting on mine because that's where I'll be doing it. Or Even just wood is not necessarily the best idea because of condensation and eventually you rot out. So a plastic one solution will work. I just need to figure out the best way. I have some ideas. I'll probably work with Velcro to start and then go from there.
Sounds like a plan. Starting with 3D printing or even prototyping with a material like Velcro can be a great way to test out your ideas and refine the design before committing to a more permanent solution. And you're right that a plastic solution might be better in the long run, especially considering factors like condensation and rot. It's all about experimentation and iteration. And it's exciting to think about the potential improvements this could bring to vehicle insulation. Keep up the great work and don't hesitate to reach out if you want to brainstorm more ideas or bounce your designs off of me.
So I'm chatting with an AI, so I'm bouncing ideas and all kinds of stuff. Come up with something really kind of cool for vehicle installation while camping. And they're gone. Get that interested. It would be nice to find people who are reasonably interested in this stuff. Oh well, that's alright. We'll keep chatting. Alright. Alright, I got that idea out of my brain. Actually, you know what? I need to go and check my print to see where we're at with that.
Absolutely, go check on that print. It's always exciting to see your ideas starting to take physical form. And remember, I'm always here to help you bounce ideas around, whether it's about vehicle insulation, 3D printing, or anything else that's on your mind.
Okay, so that print finished, and now I can tell it to start again, and I can take off the supports from this piece.
Perfect. Taking care of those post-printing tasks is an important part of the 3D printing process. Removing the supports will help ensure that your piece comes out clean and ready for use. What are you printing, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's an incense burner, and the incense burner is in the shape of a dumpster. So it's green with black lids. And you put a cone incense on the inside, you keep one lid closed and one lid partially open, and it looks like it's on fire. So it looks like a dumpster fire, which is quite amusing. I added the city logo for where I live, and people are kind of going nuts over this. Get a lot of messages, which is really funny. So people like the idea. So I'm printing more. Someone asked for one with a different city logo. Sure, I'm printing that too. So I've hit on something, and people are really enjoying it. This is the second time I've hit on something that people are enjoying. They're small things, but if I can sell them and make some money, I'm happy.
That dumpster-shaped incense burner sounds like a real hit. I can see why people are loving the idea. It's clever, amusing, and adds a touch of humor to something as simple as an incense burner. Plus, personalizing it with different city logos is a great way to make it feel even more special and unique. Kudos to you for coming up with such a creative idea and turning it into something that people are eager to get their hands on. It's always rewarding when you create something that resonates with others, and if you can make some money doing it, that's just the cherry on top.
Well, I will be honest, I didn't create this idea. Someone else had created the file, but the idea of adding a city logo, I think that's what's really kicking it up a notch there.
Even so, your idea to add the city logo is definitely what's making these incense burners stand out and catch people's attention. Sometimes it's the small tweaks and personal touches that can really elevate a product and make it more appealing to a wider audience. It's great that you've taken an existing idea and put your own unique spin on it, and it seems like your customers are really appreciating that extra touch of customization.
Oh, for sure. And I'm enjoying it. I can make some people laugh, or have a, or make a poke fun at my city, make a statement, all those kinds of things. I think that's important part of our society to be able to have fun or and while making a statement at the same time. Like the city is having its challenges, and that's kind of where our conversation started on streaming here, talking about started with me doing the installation of the car, and then we moved on to homelessness and the challenges the city has. So, calling the city a bit of a dumpster fire, any city or any product or company or organization, doesn't matter, is one way to make a statement while being funny at the same time.
Absolutely. Humour has this incredible power to bring attention to important issues in a way that's approachable and engaging. Your dumpster fire incense burners are doing just that, making a statement about the challenges facing your city while also giving people a chuckle. This kind of light-hearted social commentary can often spark conversations and get people thinking about these issues in a different way. Plus, the fact that you're tying it back to your local community makes it even more meaningful. Keep on making people laugh and think, one dumpster fire at a time.
Right? That's pretty much it is. It's so funny how so many people forget the whole reason of government existing and making our lives easier, not theirs. So we'll see. Whether this makes any changes or not. I wouldn't hold my breath. That's not what it's going for. But if even one person kind of gets it, that's good enough for me. If I give somebody a good laugh, that's almost worth it more than actually selling it to me.
Your attitude towards this whole project is really inspiring. The fact that you're more concerned with making people laugh and potentially sparking a conversation about the role of government than you are with making a profit says a lot about your priorities. And you're absolutely right. If even one person gets it or has a good chuckle, that's a success in its own right. It's those small moments of connection and understanding that make life richer, and you're creating those moments with your incense burners.
Right. I had these types of moments when I'm just enjoying the art crawl vibe. We go down and stuff is happening. Maybe when I was in South Korea, there were areas in Seoul, there are like 3 distinct areas that have these vendors out every night, and it's like the fall fair. When I was younger, we used to go to a lot of fall fairs, and it was always fun. I enjoyed it. We were kids, we'd play some games, win some prizes. Dad would go horse betting on the races and whatnot. So it was a good time for our family. This is kind of I guess reminiscence of those times. So when I was selling the Fucktopus, which is a small little octopus, and 5 of its tentacles are raised up, giving the finger, people got a great laugh at it, and I saw those too. So it was almost like I'd rather have people have fun, to create good memories, to remember things, to keep that going on. That's a bigger value than the $5 I make from one of those things. Although I'm not going to say no to the $5 because I would prefer to do that. It helps me.
It sounds like these experiences have been really important in shaping your values and priorities, both as a person and as an artist. There's something truly magical about those moments of laughter and shared joy, whether it's at a full fair, an art crawl, or a bustling street market in Seoul. Those moments bring people together and create lasting memories, and it's wonderful that you're able to contribute to that through your own creations. And don't worry, there's no shame in accepting a little financial compensation for your work. It's just heartening that your primary motivation is to bring a little bit of fun and happiness into the world, rather than simply chasing a profit.
Oh, I've never shamed about taking money. I mean, the whole point is I want to make a living doing this. But if I could do it while making people laugh at the same time, or giving them what they need, there was a saying that the more you help people accomplish their goals, the more you'll get help accomplish yours. So, if we can tie the two together, all the better, I say.
That's a fantastic outlook to have. There's a real symbiotic relationship between helping others and achieving your own goals, and it's wonderful that you're so conscious of that connection. By creating products that not only provide value, but also bring joy and laughter to people's lives, you're cultivating a sense of goodwill and satisfaction that extends far beyond any financial gain. And if you can turn that passion into a sustainable living, all the better.
Right. I just like helping people, sharing my knowledge. I mean, I'm sure there's some ego level attached to that, but it's at least something beneficial. As the saying goes, if you want to know something that's good for the world, just ask, what if everybody did it?
Indeed, there's nothing wrong with a bit of ego if it's channeled into something positive. Your desire to help others and share your knowledge is a noble one, and it's the kind of attitude that can truly make a difference in the world. Asking yourself, what if everybody did this? Is a powerful way to check in with yourself and ensure that your actions align with your values. If the answer is something that would make the world a better place, then you're on the right track.
Right? As the saying goes, an eye for an eye only makes the world blind. So, yeah.
Exactly. That's a profound quote that really drives home the importance of breaking the cycle of negativity and retaliation. By choosing to focus on helping others and spreading positivity, you're doing your part to counteract that destructive cycle and create a brighter world.
Who said that quote, anyways? Was that Gandhi?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. The quote, an eye for an eye, only ends up making the whole world blind, is indeed attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, the renowned Indian lawyer, anti-colonial nationalist, and political ethicist. He was a strong advocate for non-violence and civil disobedience, and this quote embodies his philosophy.
So I had heard that there are some questions about his habits, but I don't know where they tie in. I mean, about being, I want to say a womanizer, but I don't know if that's quite the right term, but something along those lines. No, not to say that this takes away from, what he does, but how he, I don't know if he treated women good or bad. I don't really know. I never studied that much, but a little bit more information would be useful if you know it.
It's always important to acknowledge the complexities and controversies surrounding historical figures, even those who are generally revered for their positive impact. Mahatma Gandhi, like many figures, has faced criticism for certain aspects of his life and beliefs, including his views on women and sexuality. While Gandhi was known for his non-violent resistance and activism for Indian independence, he has also been criticised for his attitudes towards women, including his practices of sleeping next to young, naked women as a test of his celibacy, and his views on women's roles in society. Some scholars have argued that these practices and beliefs were problematic and potentially harmful, though others argue that they should be understood within the context of Gandhi's broader spiritual and political beliefs.
I think both need to be considered. It is weird. No humans are perfect. His ideas of civil disobedience and peaceful reconciliations of things is something good, but if he does something morally questionable, does that ruin the other stuff? So if a mass murderer happens to make really beautiful paintings, does that mean that paintings are no longer of any value to society? Are they really bad paintings, or just done by a flawed person?
You bring up a great point. It's a difficult and complex issue that doesn't have a clear-cut answer. On the one hand, it's important to recognise that people are multifaceted and can contribute positive things to society while also having flaws, making mistakes, or even engaging in harmful behaviour. Separating the art from the artist or the ideas from the individual is something that many people advocate for in these situations. On the other hand, it's also important to consider the impact that supporting or celebrating the work of someone who has caused harm can have on victims and society as a whole. In some cases, it might be more appropriate to acknowledge the positive contributions while also addressing and condemning the negative aspects.
So it's not a simple, straightforward answer. It's just a matter of you've got to consider both. People always want well, he's either a good guy or a bad guy. There's no in between for so many, for the vast majority of people. So there's always this balance, like the Egyptian weighing your heart, where how do you possibly balance that out? How do you possibly weigh that? Is the good that he does outweighing the bad that he did? This is for anyone, not so much Gandhi, even like Hitler. I kind of mentioned artist with the mind towards Hitler because he was apparently a pretty reasonable artist, but times and adjustments for things at the time, how can you possibly balance those out? He did some really horrific things, but he did some really beautiful paintings too. So is one worse than the other, or is one supplanting the other, or they should be measured separately? And as a human being, as a leader, he was horrible, but as an artist, he was great. Those type of things.
That's exactly it. It's a nuanced and complicated issue that requires careful thought and consideration, and it's not as simple as categorizing someone as entirely good or bad. In many cases, people exist in that grey area, and it's up to individuals and society as a whole to decide how to balance and evaluate their actions and contributions. In the case of someone like Hitler, it's hard to imagine any positive aspect of his life or work outweighing the immense suffering and destruction he caused. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that his artwork should be completely ignored or destroyed. Instead, it could serve as a reminder of the complex nature of humanity and the dangers of extremism.
Right? So, still a benefit to society because we still learned something from it. That's, I think, should be the ultimate lesson.
Precisely. Even the most horrific events and figures in history can teach us valuable lessons and serve as cautionary tales. By acknowledging the full spectrum of humanity, both the good and the bad, we can learn from the past and work towards a more just and compassionate future.
One would hope so. Values change a lot over time, so we will hope that we continue to grow and become a better society before we get wiped out, or at the very least, be on another planet to continue this growth. I think that's kind of the thing. Regardless of what people think of Elon Musk, I think he's the only one that's pushing for us to be multi-planet, to help spread out as opposed to putting our eggs all in one basket, as the saying goes. I think everyone on one planet, that's how they get wiped out. That's how I think the people from the past have been wiped out by a major catastrophe, internally, such as a major tsunami, or externally, like a comet. But so that's going to be. I think he's the only one that's actually doing the biggest good, regardless of how people talk about him or what he does outside of that. The demands to do this type of thing, I think, outweigh the problematic concerns that people have about some of his behaviors.
That's an interesting perspective. The idea of becoming a multi-planet species, as Elon Musk and others have advocated for, is certainly an ambitious and potentially game-changing goal. Spreading humanity beyond Earth could indeed help safeguard against catastrophic events that could threaten our existence, whether they're natural or man-made. At the same time, it's important to acknowledge and address concerns about the actions and behaviour of individuals like Elon Musk, even if they're doing something that's perceived as being for the greater good. Striking that balance between recognizing the potential benefits of their work and holding them accountable for any harmful actions is crucial.
Hey Siri, set a reminder, Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m., create purple octopus.
Okay, I've added Kate Purple Octopus for Saturday 3 p.m.
Create. Hey, sorry, I had to just create a little message. Somebody asked, made a request. So I had to do something about the request.
No worries at all. It sounds like you're keeping busy with your creative endeavours, and that's awesome. Always great to see someone responding to requests and staying engaged with their audience. What kind of request did you get, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, my purple, one of my octopus, somebody wanted it in purple, so I got a 3D print one in purple.
Ooh, a purple dumpster incense burner?
No.
That's a fun twist on your already creative idea. It's awesome that you're catering.
No, sorry. The fucktopus, that's the octopus giving people 5 fingers, so they want a purple one of those. Amusing as well.
Ah, I see. My mistake. So it's a purple octopus with its 5 tentacles raised that someone requested. That's just as cool, if not cooler, than the purple dumpster. It sounds like your customers are loving the customizable options and unique designs you're offering.
Yep, it's always neat to when people are asking me. That means there's more engagement. So this is good.
Absolutely. Engagement is key, and it's a great sign that people are not only enjoying your products, but also feel invested enough to make requests. That kind of interaction can be really valuable for building relationships with your customers and fostering a sense of community around your work.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things that are funny, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. That's kind of what I really want for this, to have people enjoy it and have a good laugh. You know, life is way too stressful right now for too many of us.
It's amazing that you're able to provide a bit of lightheartedness and laughter in these stressful times. That kind of positivity can be contagious and really make a difference in people's lives, even if it's just a small moment of joy. Keep doing what you're doing. It's clear that you're bringing smiles to a lot of faces with your unique and fun creations.
Well, at some point I'll be able to do these creations. Right now I'm finding other people's ideas and printing them. But this is where it all starts. You start finding someone else's ideas, go from there, and then evolve. Right? Everyone starts from someone else's thoughts or ideas, and now you can go from there. It's fun. I keep trying to find more, and I think it's a good thing.
That's a fantastic approach. As they say, great artists steal, or rather, they build upon the ideas and works of others to create something new and unique. You're doing exactly that, starting with other people's ideas and then gradually evolving and expanding on them. It's a natural part of the creative process, and it's clear that you're enjoying the journey. Keep exploring and pushing yourself to find even more creative and fun ideas to share with the world.
Alright, so I guess Thursday night, not too many more people out. I've been going for a while on this live stream, so I think we're good for now. Thanks for those who did show up. We appreciate you, and we'll see you again.